Hello and welcome to Sun Spotlight. I am your host, Kharisma. Grateful to be back for another episode. In addition to these interviews that I do every Thursday at noon, I also write a weekly column for the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, which you can read on newsstands every Friday. You can also check us out online at www.philasun.com and be sure to follow the Philadelphia Sunday Sun on all social media platforms. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Tigre Hill, the producer and director of the new three-part crime docu-series entitled 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse that tells the story of the 2018 fatal altercation between Michael White and Sean Schellenger that took place in Rittenhouse Square. So it is my pleasure to welcome to Sun Spotlight, Tigre Hill. Hi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I had the pleasure of watching this really powerful documentary or docu-series that you did, 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse. I would love for you to take me to the beginning. When you first heard about this story, what made you or compelled you to want to tell it?
Well, I was working on another project when this actually happened, and
Okay.
that project turned out not to pass.
Okay.
But I saw this story about a stabbing in Rittenhouse Square, and the situation they were reporting, and then the young man turning himself in the next day. And I was just thinking, wow, this is a interesting story. I'm sure somebody's going to do a project on it because it was at the nexus of progressive progressive prosecution,
Yep.
sweeping the country, and also people were questioning tough on crime policies, whether to increase them or further decrease them.
Right.
You had Trump in the White House for a year and a half. So I saw all this stuff, like a microcosm. I keep saying that in interviews of what was going on in the country.
Okay.
So I saw that, and then I watched the trial play out, and the twists and turns in between. And then when the trial was over, I reached out. I said, somebody's likely doing something on this. And I reached out to the defense attorney, Kira Bradford Gray, and she said that no, nobody was. And then I reached out to the family, the decedent's family, and they said nobody was. And I met with them, and that's how it started.
Wow. So the event took place in 2018. What has the timeline been like for you in terms of when you first started delving in and doing the research to put all the pieces together to now it actually being available for people to watch?
Well, October was 2019 was the trial.
Okay.
So it was maybe a week or two after the trial, I reached out. It took a few months to get them on board to sit down.
Okay.
January of 2020, which 2020, everybody knows what that year is.
Yeah.
I started some filming at the end of January and February. And then COVID hit in March.
Yeah.
So there's a scene. There's a guy named Greg Thompson, who was who helped Michael White surrender.
Mm-hmm.
His interview was done the day. Remember, they shut down everything. You couldn't be on the street unless we snuck out.
Wow.
And we shot that interview with him, and we were kind of nervous driving around.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary getting over there because we were looking around and nobody was on the street. So COVID put a wrinkle in doing this, but Rittenhouse Square is one of the characters of the film.
It is.
So we ended up shooting a lot of interviews in Rittenhouse Square because it's outside and everything else. So it worked both ways for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I noticed when I was watching it is that this is one of the few docuseries that I've seen that really gives both sides of the story and not just from one perspective, both sides. Like you really take the audience on a journey for how Sean's family felt, how Michael's family felt, how other people in the city felt, how journalists felt. What was it like putting that together and really being able to give both sides of the story in a way that allowed people to come to their own conclusions, if that makes sense.
So in the beginning, when I started this, right after the trial, I reached out to Keir Bradford Gray, the defense attorney, and Linda Schellenger, the mother of the deceased. We decided to meet, and we met on 2 consecutive days at a Starbucks near me. I sat down with Linda Schellenger first, and it was 2 hours. She gave me a riveting account of what happened, things I didn't know. And after that meeting, exactly 2 hours, I felt one way. Right. I felt the next day, the very next day, I had a 2-hour meeting, exact same 2 hours, at the same Starbucks with Keir Bradford Gray, the defense attorney. Mm-hmm. And she gave me a riveting account about stuff that I didn't know had happened. And then I felt another way.
Right.
So I wanted to capture those 2 meetings at Starbucks in the docu-series. You have one perspective here and one perspective there.
One of the other things that I thought was really interesting was just hearing the account directly from Michael.
Yes.
Hearing him kind of go back and retell how he felt in that moment, what happened in that moment, him not even remembering all of the details, which you hear a lot from people when, adrenaline is happening. They don't always remember all the details. What was it like for you sitting down with him for the first time, hearing, firsthand what his experience was like in that moment?
That first time was tense because it was not too long after, the trial. Mm-hmm. So feelings were raw. But I found him to be very forthcoming.
Yeah.
He's an intelligent young man, and he was going through tragedies on both sides, but he's going through his way of dealing with things, and we captured that on camera.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful that he actually mentioned that. Like, a lot of people feel like, oh, he was acquitted of this crime, so he gets to walk away scot-free. And it's like, no, this incident still happened. Someone still lost their life. He's never going to have the same experience as he walks through life. And I thought that was really important for him to say that, for the people that might have a different viewpoint of what happened after this trial. One of the other things I thought was very interesting was so often when Black or brown people are killed, we get this narrative of how they weren't angels and they weren't, they didn't have clean records or whatever the case may be with George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, and the list goes on and on. It was really interesting to me to see that being played out with an affluent white male who was actually the victim of a crime. Was that intentional, that decision for you to have that play?
Well, it was to show all the facts and show what the jury saw. And like I always say, the audience for this film is the jury for this docuseries. So yes, I mean, it was, I wanted it to play out like the trial did.
Okay.
And those are the things that came up.
What was the most challenging aspect for you of putting all of this together and creating this story arc in this 3-part docuseries?
Getting both sides to talk.
Okay.
They're wary of intentions. They're wary of where it's going to go. That was difficult. Also, getting the material, the proffer, the stuff leaked. People leaked to me. Because the district attorney's office wasn't cooperating and they weren't going to release any material. So that was pretty difficult. And, but it's, making anything, you're a creative, anything.
Yeah.
Making anything's difficult, you blood, sweat, and tears and all that type of stuff. And, but we got it done.
And what was the moment like when you finally saw the video? I really love how in the story you let the story play out in the docuseries, and we don't get to see what actually transpired from the incident until the 3rd part of the series. What was it like for you when you first actually witnessed that video?
It was a revelation to me. I'll let other people's interpretation of the video stand for what it is, but it was a revelation to me.
Yeah.
I saw it not too long after I started. And the thing that it was a revelation. I'll just leave it at that.
Another revelation from it for me was seeing the divide in this city play out in real time, and then also seeing it play out after the fact, watching the series, hearing from both sides what people's thoughts were, and seeing there was the one it was one image that really stood out to me. It was a town hall meeting, I believe,
Yeah.
where a lot of people were, livid with Larry Krasner. And I remember seeing someone in the back with a Make America Great t-shirt again. And for whatever reason, that just really stood out to me. And it showed kind of Philadelphia do a split. What was it like for you, just kind of seeing it all play out in real time, and then also like looking back at the docu-series and seeing it happen?
Well, again, it was that town hall. I was there. I was there filming with Lamont, and it was it was all the venom that I saw that was playing out for that trial, and the incident was playing out there. Now there were a lot of people there that politically they were either way. They were upset at the rise in crime in their neighborhoods. So that was in South Philly. So it brought out a lot of people, a lot of angry people. In that case, to them was an example of what's going wrong with the city. And as you can see how it plays out in the film.
Yeah. In addition to the film being, full of information that people, I don't think, gathered or were able to gain from just seeing the story on the news, it was beautifully shot. Can you talk about the cinematography and kind of the team that helped you put it all together?
Yeah, Lamont Fountain was the cinematographer and co-producer, and he's a very talented guy, as you can see. And we wanted a certain look for this. We wanted to show Rittenhouse Square what it is. It's beautiful. It's sometimes haunting.
Yes.
And he did a great job we did drone shots and everything else. I remember one time we were doing drones in Rittenhouse Square, and those things go way up high.
Yeah, they do.
It was nerve-wracking because you're scared because we're controlling it, and he's controlling it. I'm looking at the monitor, and you're scared something like that is going to fall down on somebody. It's terrifying, but he knew what he was doing, and so yeah, it came out looking very well because of him.
What are you hoping that audiences walk away with after watching this docuseries and taking it all in?
Well, just like when I started this, there's a lot of things I didn't know. When the way it was reported, you didn't get a real full view of what actually happened and what was going on. So I hope that the audience, you see it, we're in the era of sound bites, 30-second sound bites or little quick videos. You can't learn anything about something that way, a TikTok video or whatever. You can't learn. You really have to do an in-depth look and push more to find out more information.
Absolutely. So do you have any other projects that people can look forward to seeing and supporting you and moving forward?
Yeah, I'm doing the early life of a civil rights leader in Philly. His name is Cecil B. Moore. We're shooting a movie about his early days. And you might know somebody that might be in it.
I do, I think.
Yeah, it's called American Zealot.
Awesome.
So looking forward to finishing that up and getting that out there too.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and sharing this incredible docuseries with the world. It's really fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Sun Spotlight. 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse is available to stream on Paramount Plus, and it is an absolute must see. So do yourselves a favor and tune in to the 3-part docuseries. To keep up with Tigre and all that he's up to, you can follow him on Instagram at Tigre_Hill. And to keep up with me and all that I'm up to, you can follow me on Instagram at The Real Kharisma, on Twitter and TikTok at Real Kharisma, and then head on over to my YouTube channel, Kharisma Music, where you can check out some of my latest performances. And while you're online, be sure to like and follow the Philadelphia Sunday Sun on all social media platforms. I'll be back next Thursday at noon with a brand new episode, and I hope to see you there. Until then, love and light.